This week on Project UX, we're going to open up the vault and take a look at startup Workfrom, who we shot on tour back in 2016. The UXperts dove into topics such as the scent of information, the information architecture, and making sure that the users have access to the proper information that they're looking for at the right time. So enjoy this episode chock full of great UX content and let us know what you think.
Workfrom is where the world works. Over 60% of the world works outside of an office. Maybe you've seen us working on our laptops the last time you were in a coffee shop, or maybe you yourself work from home, on the road, from trains, while you're traveling the world. Wherever you roam, Workfrom quickly connects you with the best places to be productive. Whether you need Wi-Fi, power, a place to meet with your team, with Workfrom you can do great work anywhere. So I'm going to walk you through a scenario of someone coming to the site for the very first time. So I'm going to Workfrom, and I know that I need a place with power because I forgot to plug in my computer while I was on the telephone. In order to see some more of the sensitive data, we'll go ahead and create an account. So there's a squirrel delivering me my email, so I'm going to go check that out. I forget oh, I don't even need a password. So this is great. I'm just going to click through the email, go back to being on my way to finding the best place to work today. Oh, a little video. I'll come back. I'm looking for power. Okay. Near me. Looks like there's some cool stuff to check out. I'm going to come back and check it out later. Yeah, you can know where I'm at. But right now I need fast Wi-Fi because I got to get some stuff done. It's a beautiful day outside, so I want to sit outside. And you know what? I want to drink. I'm going to drink after I work, of course. So I'm just taking a look, like so. Oh my God, that looks like a great patio. So at this point, I can dive in a little bit, and I can see that, oh, someone worked here earlier. Got some fast Wi-Fi speeds, so that looks good so far. Oh, there's a free conference room. I might come back and check that out later. Yeah, I mean, I like these photos. I can see a good sense of the place. Everywhere else I look, I see pictures of coffee and food. I'm like, that doesn't tell me if it's a place I want to work at. So again, I see some more people. I can dig in and get some more information. And at this point, I'm going to go and check it out.
Okay, so we talked previously about the notion of designing around situations, and I would say that your situation is a totally reasonable one. And so one thing that in the marketing world, there's something called scent of information, and it's also a little bit in UX as well, where say there's a scenario where I was doing a search and an ad popped up for 20% off sneakers at like an e-commerce store, and I click on that, and if it just dumps me onto the homepage where it doesn't mention what kind of sneakers there are, or doesn't even mention the sale, then I've lost the scent of information. However, if I click on that ad and it takes me to a landing page that specifically talks about that sale, and then it drives me into a filter that only shows the sneakers that are on sale, and I can start browsing from there, then I've maintained the scent of information. And what I've found in the course of your demo, there were numerous times where you encountered something and you even said when you were doing the narration, oh, that's cool, maybe I'll come back and do this later. And so it kept pulling your attention away from the main thing that you wanted to do. And so really, kind of again talking about like the expectancy test, if I'm saying I want to find a place that has fast Wi-Fi or power near me, and then I conduct that search, I would assume that I would get taken to the search results for that page, or it's understandable if you say like you need to make an account or something like that. But to present someone with like a form to fill out that says like, don't miss out on the Wi-Fi, that was a mismatch of expectations for sure. And then sending them to like the distraction nightmare that is their inbox, to have them go find an email that may or may not show up immediately, and then come back, and then to have to redo the search that they had done. There are a lot of opportunities to make that a much more straightforward and streamlined path. So that's the thing that jumped out to me the most for sure.
So when I saw that loading page where it was like Wi-Fi, when I saw that Wi-Fi and that white page, it didn't look like Workfrom anymore. It looked like something I might see if I were at a cafe and I were using their shitty Wi-Fi, and it was like, you should give us money to keep using this Wi-Fi. That's what I thought it was. And I was like, oh, get rid of that.
Yeah.
And there are several times throughout this workflow where a new page is opened when clicking on something. And I'm not always entirely sure that it needs to. Like, it should very clearly still be the Workfrom site. And if I want to open something in a new tab, I can alt-click and open a new tab. Let me decide that.
Yeah, especially on mobile, where if the people are even more sensitive about open tabs and resources in that case, and that seems like it's a primary use case for you, in this particular one too.
So you sort of intimated this, and I think it's screaming at it for me, and that is you're creating essentially the Yelp for Work, which is great, by the way, results back. So the equation I'll leave you with is satisfaction equals results divided by effort. If you make effort 0, satisfaction goes to infinity, right? So if the less effort they have to put in to get some sort of result, the higher their satisfaction is going to be. And over time, they'll put more investment in and they'll put the effort in if they want deeper answers.
Yeah, and we've done some testing. Like, this is a newer approach, and with this approach, our conversion rate is quadrupled, and the retention rate has grown. Which was not what we expected, because no one wants to put a pop-up on a page.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that stands out to me is I think that I had the same reaction as both of you, or certainly with you, where when it said don't miss out on the Wi-Fi, I did think that something had gone technically wrong. And so just the notion that I think I see what you're trying to do here, and I largely agree with it. I think it's just a question of nuance more than anything. I think that you will find that people are much more motivated if you can clearly demonstrate to them why it's to their benefit to do so. I have this saying, kind of like when you're trying to give a dog a pill, you can either try to hold its mouth open and then whip it into the back of its throat, and then hold its mouth closed, and then it just spits it on the floor. It's all slimy, and you have to do it all over again. Or you can just put it in a meatball, And so in that same kind of way, I didn't see the account creation request wrapped in a meatball, and I think that you're close as far as saying don't miss out on free Wi-Fi, because I can understand there's a sense of urgency and scarcity there. But at the same time, if you're framing it in a way that looks kind of like an error message, the good news is that there's just a little bit more you need to go in order for it to work. But the bad news is you also don't want to be, giving people kind of an off-putting experience right from the beginning.
I like the meatball. That's going to stick.
It's possible that's also your success rate is a dark pattern. People thinking that they need to sign in to get Wi-Fi, not necessarily because they want to use your system again. You might consider doing an upsell, okay, halfway between these two things. Allowing people the option to make a list of their favorite places, because I would use this all the time when I'm traveling, but I might want to make lists for different locations of my favorite spots. So that might be a way to offer people that incentive, that meatball. What can you give them to make it worth their time to create an account that they're going to use? Mm-hmm.
Now, I was really struck by the map page. And what I was struck by, and if you scroll the left area back up away from the photographs for a moment. So what I was struck by was essentially the density of the information that was offered to me, right? So I'm seeing 3, at minimum, maybe 6 pieces of information here, all on one screen, that allow me to make some more informed decisions. Some of them are geographic, but even on the map, you've got additional data that's telling me, I don't know what the big blue circle means, but my presumption is I'll figure that out, and what the red circle is. I mean, I'm assuming I can decipher those things, but the point is that the map is giving me multiple dimensions of information. And then to the left, I'm getting deep dive information that's photographs, which are great. And even the filters are giving me information in terms of what's detented and what's not, and that's immediate and interesting. And then the little circles, the avatars across the top, which might be of interest to me if I had any friends. So the question really for me now is, how can you make it even denser? And I know, again, on a phone interface and a tablet, you're going to need to respect the ergonomics, but I feel like you're missing some opportunity to provide even, the filters seem a little clunky. They seem a little, just a little bit taking up too much space for the value that they're adding. So I'm not sure what the answer is, but my next step with you would be, let's work through what additional information users are really looking for that we could present in a more dense way that moves them through their task more quickly.
So when you say dense, just a clarifying question.
So detented. So detent, meaning what's pushed down and what's not.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would. I think I'm agreeing with you on this one. Regarding density of information, it's also just a question of prioritization. So, to your point, which I think you explicitly made, just understanding there are probably there's like the 80-20 rule. You know, like where like is that something you're familiar with? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So along those lines, there are probably 20% of those options that are the most relevant to people, and if you could trim that down to 5 or whatever that might be, and then provide more filters or something like that. Your product, it serves a totally different purpose and has a different, job to be done than Airbnb does. But as far as just the transactional nature of finding a place and going through that filtering process and evaluating it, probably very similar. And I know that's something that they do, where they're like the top level things, and then you can also go into deep dive and be like, I only want to look at campers or whatever. So in a similar way, there are probably things along those lines. It's just a question of customer development and really understanding which ones are the highest leverage and which ones aren't.
Once you are confident that you are talking to the right prospective users, you will know exactly how the visual treatments on the screen should be, exactly what prominence the map should have, exactly what kinds of photographs those vendors can offer up so that the people will start coming to their spot and so forth and so on. And it's unclear to me, because it's not part of your demo or your elevator pitch, what your user research program is about in order to really uncover those key understandings that will help drive your design.
Yeah, we have an awesome community. So this is all community curated. A venue can add their own listing, but most of these photos are added by folks themselves, and they've been great in policing each other as well. Like, hey, this is a picture of a hamburger, as the featured image. It should really be of the space. And so in terms of the user feedback, we get a lot of feedback. It's kind of whiplashy, but it's been awesome in guiding us along the way. We have a Slack community, so people chime in there if they think something's wonky. You can chime in here. There's a lot of ways to give us feedback. So it's run the gamut from sitting with people, watching them use it, which every time I watch someone use it, I'm like, oh God, I gotta change something, to people sending us in because they're all over the world.
Okay, so my challenge to you is going to be a more formal mechanism at this point of understanding that feedback information. Crowdsourced self-reporting feedback is going to just, like you say, break your neck and be very, very difficult to deconstruct and analyze. Great from an aggregate perspective, not necessarily actionable from a design perspective. Sitting and watching people do their work, excellent, but without a trained observer there helping you, you again might say, oh, I need to make that change, when in fact you may not need to make that change. It's just what that idiosyncratic session was about. So my challenge to you is to step up at this point and start to get some more formalized user research done, which will save you hours and years, person years worth of effort in terms of what this design needs, where it needs to go.
Let's have a round of applause for Workfrom. Thank you, Jewel.
Thanks for watching, y'all. Let us know what you think in the comments below. We really appreciate your feedback. Like, share, all that good stuff. It really means the world to us. We'll be back next week with another episode. Until next time.